We're all in for a nightmare, Cummings fires ominous warning to Tories in attack on Boris. More than a year since walking out of Downing Street with his possessions packed in a cardboard box, Mr. Cummings seems ready to see his former boss go too. Mr. Johnson's former advisor, who is now recasting himself as a political speaker, said after this afternoon's resignation statement the outgoing Prime Minister had blamed everyone else for his failures, portrayed himself as the real victim, and set up betrayal stories for the future. He concluded, "We're all in for a nightmare if he's allowed to squat." Times foreign correspondent Catherine Philp joined Mr. Cummings in highlighting Mr. Johnson is not yet gone. She wrote on Twitter, "I hate to point this out, but if Boris hasn't been to the Queen, he hasn't actually resigned." Their comments came after it emerged Johnson would resign as Conservative leader today, but continue as Prime Minister until the autumn. After his ministers turned against him, former Chancellor Rishi Sunak and ex-Health Secretary Sajid Javid were the first to do so on Tuesday. The man who delivered Brexit finally admitted defeat. In his announcement, Mr. Johnson said it was clearly now the will of the parliamentary party for there to be a new Prime Minister and that the timetable for choosing one will be unveiled next week. Mr. Johnson said he waited so long to make the decision to leave as he had been keen to deliver on the voters' mandate in person, arguing he felt it was his duty and obligation to do what he had promised. Since leaving government in late 2020, Mr. Cummings has never missed a chance to campaign against Mr. Johnson. Visibly uneager to let go of Britain's top job, Mr. Johnson spoke about the privilege it had been to enjoy the country's Britishness as he got to know it throughout his tenure. He said, "I've travelled to every part of the United Kingdom, and in addition to the beauty of our natural world, I found so many people possessed of such boundless British originality and so willing to tackle old problems in new ways that I know that even if things can sometimes seem dark now, our future together is golden." Making one last promise before walking back into what will soon no longer be his home, he pledged, "I want you to know that from now on, until the new Prime Minister is in place, your interests will be served and the government of the country will be carried on." Being Prime Minister is an education in itself.